to show you how to check your website's performance, or at least individual page performance, using PageSpeed Insights. And I'm going to use this starter site as my example. It's just a site that I use as a starting point for some of my client sites. So you can see there's some large images, there's some text, got a form. There's not a whole lot going on here, but it does have some pretty large unoptimized images. All right, so I'm going to take the URL for that, and then I'm going to go over to pagespeed.web.dev. It's not .com or anything, and paste that URL in there, and I'm going to analyze it, and let's see what I get back from Google. This is a Google tool, so it's free to use, and it's good information. It'll give you some technical information, some opportunities that you'll have to improve the performance. And it does it for both mobile and desktop, which is really nice because if you know what kind of device your users are using, then you know which one you really need to pay more attention to. I personally like to pay attention to both. So I look at both the mobile and the desktop, but really I try to optimize for mobile because it's going to give you a better overall performance. But you can see here, if I look at the mobile report, then my performance is a 77, which is not terrible, but it's not as good as it could get. And then the desktop is 96, which is great. But you can see my SEO is a little bit low. It's 83 for desktop and 84 for mobile. Now, one of the things that I like about PageSpeed Insights, I can scroll down and get some numbers, some actual metrics. And I do recommend running this report a few times. So check it, 3 or 4 times to sort of get an average of it, because depending on the network traffic and several other factors, you might get different numbers each time you run it. So you don't want to just rely on one instance of it. But we can see here that the first contentful paint, which is basically the first time that you can see pretty much everything on the first screen, is 1.8 seconds, which is actually pretty good. It's not the best, but 1.8 seconds, that means it's going to take less than 2 seconds for my homepage to load. And the largest contentful paint, which is basically when everything is loaded, is 5.7 seconds. And by the way, there is no optimization on this website at all. I haven't optimized anything. So this is pre-optimization. And I'm using a pretty optimized theme for the website. This is a WordPress website, and I'm using a pretty optimized theme, but I haven't optimized any of the images or anything else on the site. So if I scroll down a little bit, we'll see here, it gives me a list of opportunities. And so it tells me, usually you're going to see things in here like your images are too big. It wants you to serve your images in next-gen formats. So properly sizing the images, that means that, if you have a 400 by 300 space, that you're probably using a much larger image and it's scaling it down. So you can expand these, and we can see here that it's going to tell me which images and an approximate potential estimate of the potential savings. So you can see here that the size of this particular image, the lemon cleaning solution, is 201.4K, and I could probably just by resizing it and putting it in at the correct size, I could get it down to 179.3. So that is one thing that it's going to give me. And if I just keep scrolling down here, it's going to suggest serving the images in next-gen formats. I believe these images are JPEGs. Yeah, a lot of JPEGs and maybe some PNGs. And the suggestion is going to be to serve them as WebP instead. And you can see it says use WebP and AVIF instead. So let me collapse those. But it does give an estimate of how much time savings I could get from those. So you can see here, it says that I could potentially get a 2.4 second savings, and this could be a potential 1.95 second savings if I implement those changes. And it also has some additional suggestions. This eliminate render blocking resources. That usually means defer CSS and JavaScript files, which is a little technical, and doing some other things with the JavaScript and the CSS files. And I'm using WordPress, so there are plugins that I can use to optimize the website to do exactly that. And you can see that it says there are a number of WordPress plugins that can help you with that. So that's a little bit less savings, but there we go. And then there's some other things like image elements do not have explicit width and height. That is something that I could fix with a plugin. And do not use passive listeners to improve scrolling performance. That's a JavaScript file, so might want to talk with the developer of the JavaScript file. It also gives me some an audit for accessibility, and this is good information. It's not the end all be all, so don't just rely on this when you're checking your website for accessibility. But you can see that it's got a couple of suggestions there. For best practices, 100% awesome. And then for SEO, it gives me some suggestions that I can make to improve my SEO. And this is from Google, so it's probably a good idea to listen to these descriptions, listen to these suggestions, and make sure that you're implementing them. So again, this website is pagespeed.web.dev. And you can just put the URL of your website in there, and you're going to get this really great report. And once you get the report, you need to actually implement the suggestions, use the opportunities that it gives you, which is a little bit more in depth. I do have some courses on that, or some mini courses on that at websitesuccessacademy.com. So make sure you check that out and let me know if you have any questions. But thanks for watching.